good morning, University Avenue, or whoever is watching this. I'm Ben Stewart. This is Laura Kate Yarbrough. She is the children's minister at University Avenue, and really excited that she gets to join us today to talk about her history with some hymns.
Yeah.
Again, we're moving past all of the histories of hymns, and I want to interview y'all, and I want to find out how y'all came to know hymns, and one that's kind of influential in your life. Again, not your favorite, just a hymn that maybe found you at a right time or had some influence in you. So we're here with Laura Kate, and I just want to start off with the question I always do, which is tell us a little bit about yourself, and what's your story with growing up with hymns, or did you grow up in the church or anything like that?
Yeah, so I grew up at Westover Hills Church of Christ here in Austin. My parents are ministers there, and hymns have always been a part of my life at Westover. For all of my childhood was a cappella, and so hymns were just a part of every Sunday with us. I noticed, I don't know a lot of the older ones, I think. I was raised with a lot of the newer ones, and by new, I mean after the 60s.
Camp songs.
Yep. Anything that allowed us to sing in harmonies, and we would always joke that my youth group could have been a choir if we wanted to, because those harmonies were important, and it was really good. Singing was always such an essential part of growing up. We did LTC.
Classic.
And that's where I learned I'm an alto, and that's where I discovered it.
What events did you compete in?
I did choir, and then I did art. I did signing. I did scripture reading. Did puppets. Did acting.
Were you a gold kind of person, or like silver, or like just scraping by with the bronze?
Well, it depends on what it is. Because if it was creative, I was gold. I was so gold. Except for the one year during choir, we decided to sing a song from Hercules. Don't know why we did that. It's not the movie to branch out on. But
LTC choirs are always a wild card.
I know. Well, we sang "Go the Distance," and they didn't appreciate it. Don't know why. But then the ones that I for sure knew, I only got honorable mentions in these, was actually Bible Bowl and Bible Quiz. I've never been like a fact person. I like to say I'm a lot more emotionally in tuned. But the facts and stuff like that, the moment you ask me to recall something specific, or like specific words, I'm going to completely forget it, and you won't hear back from me
in those things,
for
little
24
cubes
hours
that are all different.
Oh yeah, and don't worry, my test grades also resulted in that.
Well, what you just needed was to be like my family, where we're all so competitive with each other that the reason that we would do well in Bible Bowl was just because we wanted to be better than each other, and so literally I had one year that I did really well, and it was because I found out that my sister and my brother had perfect scores on it, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna just get beat by them.
See, that's where, because I have two older sisters as well, and so we got competitive with it, but it was different because it was with the theater and the drama. And so I remember
I've seen them.
I've shown you. So we did videos, very dramatic. We also did, our skits were intense. Once, I think I was in 6th grade, and my dad, who's just an incredibly creative person, wrote the script for us, and the theme was Avatar, like right after the Avatar movies came out. We painted our entire bodies blue. And we wore a blue matching sweatsuit. We did like the makeup,
green screen.
You had a bunch of 6th graders just looking, and then we would all crawl around like them, not even performing. Like as we went up, it was a lot. we were emotionally just a lot to deal with.
Oh yeah, you showed the young adults. Remember, we watched those videos from your dad's Dropbox?
Yeah. Well, they're the videos that Westover would make for LTC. My dad would always write and direct them, and again, we went all out. Like I remember once we used scenes from The Mummy as like background green screen with us acting in front. And the scripts are really funny. I'm not sure how funny other people would find them.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, you thought. Well, maybe I would find them funny.
We also
Who
have
knows?
weird humor, so it's fine.
That's fair. So LTC was a big part of singing and like those hymnals and kind of gathering that and I don't think I realized until I was in high school that we didn't even really use, like, we had the words up in worship, but most of the time with devotionals or different things I went to, we didn't even have the words out for the songs we would sing. And so it was just important that you like memorized all the words. And so I think, yeah, just memorizing like specific hymnals over and over again.
Well, and also you were in high school, but you were really involved with your parents because they're children's ministers as well.
Yeah.
And so you were really involved with the children's ministry and volunteering and doing a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
And with kids, if you flash up, shape notes, it's
they're not gonna get no. Actually,
although I do think they're good.
I
think
hadn't seen shape notes. I think my grandparents' church had shape notes. They go to Georgetown Church of Christ. They had shape notes when I was little, but I hadn't really seen them until I came to UA. Like, I had seen them in the actual hymnals that we would read sometimes, but I never actually learned the specific music. I knew that once they went up and down, like I was in band, and that taught me that more than I learned in church, because you just kind of had to we worked on memorization more than actually like learning.
I am in the minority. I think that like hand signs, like, are really, really good because you have that movement that goes alongside. And I think that can be a great way to teach kids. But when you're there doing children's ministry, you're also singing like some different songs. So you're having like the high school exposure to hymns, your actual like in-person worship on Sunday mornings and Wednesdays. But then also you're volunteering with children. And that's what you do now, too, because I know that's a big part of UA's children's ministry is music and singing.
And that was, when I was hired, it was interesting because the kids weren't as familiar singing a lot of the songs I think they had been trying to use before I had gotten there. And we had to kind of build this culture where the kids were used to worshiping, and then even worshiping through dancing and different just kind of ways to express just worship, because some of the kids aren't able to read and it's hard for them to
and Sunday mornings you're being told sit still and focus, and their natural reaction is to I want to move, which I think is good. I think everyone's natural reaction should be to want to move. And so there's a lot to learn from children in worship. And so I appreciate you even bringing that kind of culture. And it's very different because kids are naturally very energetic, because you got to get them to buy in. And then once they buy in, they're all in. Yeah.
We had, in children's worship jam, we have kind of a routine with the songs. We sing 2 energetic songs that are, one of them, we really like Yancey. She does a lot of really good children's worship songs that have really good messages, a really good beat, and it just kind of gets the kids engaged. And especially if we have visiting kids, there's not like an elitism, like you have to know the words, which is helpful because they're really easy to pick up. And then we do 2 fun songs that are still Jesus songs. And then the third song is we sing I Love You, Lord. But a cool thing about our jam room is it kind of looks like a cabin, and we have these lights, and so I turn off the overhead lights and I have the kids lay down, and the ground is this like astroturf grass, fake grass, and the kids just lay down and they just take in the words of I Love You, Lord, and some of them sing along, and it's just kind of this really beautiful time of worship with them. That they can have fun, but then there's also there's a seriousness to worship as well that's really beautiful. And so how you can do both and at the same time.
Well, because kids, they understand more than we think and more than we give them credit for. And to challenge them and say, no, you can worship in a reverent way. You can worship with this energetic. I think there's actually something reverent about energetic worship too. But anyway,
it's all we're going off topic.
So with this, then, what hymn are you bringing to us today?
So the hymn that I think of pretty consistently when I think of hymns that are important to me is Step by Step. That was one that it's just, the songs that your parents sing to you when you're little and it just sticks in your memory. That was just one I remember so clearly, and my mom would sing to me all the time. before we went to bed, and then it had such a pretty harmony as I was growing up, as I was learning how to sing, that I feel like that hymnal throughout my whole life has just kind of been given new life at each stage that I've made. So like when I was a child, it was a very soothing song for me to listen to, and it's so funny when I think about it. I only hear my mom singing it, and my mom's an alto, so it's just like this nice, really soothing tone. And it started with just like step by step. I actually, because I knew I would forget, because it's on the spot, I actually have the words here.
My mom's an alto too. Actually, every woman in my family is an alto, and every man is a tenor. Pretty sure all the women can sing lower than.
That's how it has to be. Yeah, so I actually have the words here because there's just something so beautiful about the simplicity of it. Like I really like I like complicated songs, but then I really like the simple ones because, again, kids can pick it up really easily, but I think they can resonate a lot more too. But the part that I think of when I think of this, of Step by Step, mostly is the part where it starts like, I will seek you in the morning and I will learn to walk in your ways. And step by step you'll lead me and I will follow you all of my days. And it's really simple. But when I was in college, again, every stage of my life, it gets a new deepness. Like, it gets deeper with how I think about it. I had a professor who was talking kind of about how God calls us to be like children. And he used the metaphor that, like, he doesn't, like, there's an innocence with children, but also this idea that as kids, when we're learning how to walk, we keep stumbling. And like, what's the first thing that usually happens when a kid falls is they like stick their hands up for mom or dad. And that when God calls us to be like children, I think it's mostly like, there's a big part that is us just reaching back up towards God when we stumble and we fall, and like looking at step by step. We'll follow you, like step by step I'll praise you. And it's not that we're going to do amazing every step, but that each step we take, we can turn towards God and follow him. And then obviously, like, just in the morning, I like just starting the day with it, because especially when my mom would sing to me to sleep, it was always like, okay, we're looking forward the morning, so we're going to start our day with looking towards God and seeing him that day. And my parents I was homeschooled until 5th grade. And yeah, we're awkward and we're proud. Well,
I'm not proud.
That's the only difference. Man, oh yeah, I was homeschooled, and so my mom was really intentional. She told me a couple months ago, we were actually talking about this, and she said, you know, I realized everyone's going to be a dork for something, right? Like, you could be a dork for sports.
It's cooler
school.
to be a dork for sports.
Yeah. Choir, like, there's choir. Like, there's a lot of different things. You're going to be a dork for something, right? And she was like, I don't know. She said one day we just woke up and we decided that if we're going to be a dork for something, let's be a dork for Jesus. And so every part of our day was centered around God in some way. Like, we would spend so much time at church, because obviously they worked there, but they didn't start working there till after we were homeschooled. And so we would just go up to the church and just do stuff. Yeah. And I just remember that was such a natural part of my life. And so like these hymnals my mom would sing, and my mom's not like the most confident singer either. So it's not like my family was not a bunch of like, hey, let's just sing in harmony together. Ben. But even though we weren't like confident singers, like I don't think none of us were amazing, we still were like, this is a really important part of our faith, is singing and worshiping God.
Well, and you see that also with it's like children, like becoming like children again. Because I'm with the youth, and you see, I so clearly remember this in myself too. It's like you learn to be self-conscious, and you start being like, okay, what are people thinking of me? When you're a kid, you're like, this is who I am. Like, I remember my oldest sister's wedding. It was after she had just gotten married, and we had the reception at my parents' house. I like went and I like took off my suit and I put on like a Superman uniform, and I was just like, this is who I am. I just like ran through the house like, yeah, sister's married. And then like in middle school and high school, I'm like, don't talk to me. I don't know who I am yet. But yeah, and so there's this kind of this sense of being goofy and that being okay, and opening yourself up to vulnerability. That's so valuable in a lot of ways. Really finding out who God has called you to be and being okay with that.
Yeah.
So I love that. And it's also, so my best friend, he loves Step by Step because he was a missions intern in Africa for a bit, and they would actually wake up and they would sing this song every morning and walk at 6 a.m.
They took "I Will Seek You" in the morning, literally.
Very, very literally. And they would walk a mile around their village, and they would sing this song every single morning, because it's not something that you would just sing once, and be done with it. But it is this. There's a repetitiousness that you have to have in seeking God. It's not a one and done thing. It's like at night, and as my soul rises to meet you, all these different concepts. And also this song has become really popular in All God's Children, which Laura Kate now leads, and leads alongside Mitch, and one of our favorite friends there, he's just become obsessed with this song. Love him dearly, and he'll request this song almost every time that I'm there. And he started talking about why this song's so important to him, and from this perspective of someone going through homelessness, where it's like, no, this is, I have to take it one step at a time, and I have to seek you one step at a time, because if I think too much further than that, like, it's too much to bear. And God's like, no, bring me your burden to, like, this morning. Bring me your burden tonight, and we will carry this together. And then when you wake up, like, we'll do this again. And sometimes that feels like all we can do. And there's beauty to that. Sleeping and rising up and doing it again alongside him.
Yeah. The variety of what a step looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can be limping, but you're
sometimes you're limping. Sometimes a step is a minute in your day. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's a month or two.
Yeah. I also love how it starts off with this proclamation of like, oh God, you are my God.
Yeah.
And I will ever praise you. And it's like, we'll get to the step-by-step thing, but first I'm just like going to orient myself tonight or this morning, and I just want to say, you're my God.
Yeah. I think that's so telling even in my own life, because when things just suck, like I usually start my conversations with God, my prayers, with like, I love you, and you are Lord above all. What the heck is happening? I think that's so telling, that like you start with like, I love you. Oh God, you're my God. Step by step. We're going to just take this step by step.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of parallels between this and Psalm 73, where it like starts off where, surely you are good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. It's like one sentence. Yeah. And then the whole rest of the psalm is like, but why is this happening? Why is there injustice? Why are these people benefiting? I mean, the age-old question of like, why are good things happening to bad people? Why are bad things happening to good people? And so you have like this orientation and then the whole disorientation. It kind of ends with this like, and I would have stumbled, and I don't know where I would have been until I went to seek you. Yeah. And so, did it just go dark? I'm gonna edit that really quick. Oh, it's okay. We'll go back to it. Oh, it's still recording.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry, my screen went dark there for a second, so we're talking too much. I was talking about Psalm 73.
Oh, Psalms, yeah. I don't know, that would, because then that pulls me into, just reminds me of the relational element of our relationship with God. It's reverent, but then it's also personal, because I feel like that's how I even handle personal relationships a lot. Like if I have someone that I need to like air stuff out, or if I need to talk to, that's usually how I start things, like, hey, I love you. What's that called? Is that a sandwich? Some people say that.
A sandwich? I mean, I get it, like compliment, sandwich.
Yeah, but it's more sincere. Like I think that's how we talk to people. Or for example, with Drew, my husband, that's how sometimes I'm like, hey, I love you. You need to stop leaving your towel on the floor. I love you so much. Please pick up your towel. I will fight you.
I think I identify more with the concept of Oreo more because it's Jenna's favorite thing. So it's like, but it's all synthetic and fake. Never mind. Sandwich is better.
Anyways.
So yeah.
Okay.
Needing to start this with a proclamation of goodness. And then it ends with that as well. Yeah. It's just a reminder that it's this marathon, and every morning, just taking another breath and orienting yourself. We could talk about this all day.
Forever.
So I'm gonna go ahead and thank Lord Kate for spending some time talking about this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so I will I'll play this, and hopefully you are singing alongside. All right, thank you.
Bye.
I want to thank Laura Kate again for taking some time to talk to us. And it's a relatively short song, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. And I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways. And step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. If there was ever a hymn to make your prayer today and this week, it's got to be this one. Really, the simplicity of it is so perfect for just catching yourself and reorienting yourself towards Christ. So I hope that that's a prayer for you. Just a little bit of background. This is written by Rich Mullins. I have to say this because Rich is just one of my favorites. Same guy who did Awesome God. He's got a very 2000s-y sound to him now, but really love some of his stuff. Great musician, so be sure to check out some of his stuff. And anyway, I'm looking forward to talking to some more people in this next coming weeks. I'll see you at the same time next Wednesday. Bye.